Overall, the performance is nice and fast, with 2 apps running at the same time. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and this is a magic drawing pad from XPPen. So let's talk about it. I've been using this device for about a week now on a daily basis, so I think I have a pretty good impression of it. This tablet was sent to me for free by XPPen, but I wasn't paid to say anything specific about it, as well as you guys will be the first ones to see this video, so these are my thoughts on it, and I think you will be able to tell in just a moment. And so what is Magic Drawing Pad? This is the very first, like a standalone Android drawing device from XPPen. It has a 12.2-inch display, so it's quite a big boy, and it comes with a pen. And this pen actually uses the XPPen technology, the very new one, the Pro Pen 3.0, I think it's called, technology that uses like 16,000 step pressure sensitivity and stuff like that. And yeah, pretty much this is a big Android tablet that's specifically targeting digital artists. And you may be asking, like, what are the main features that separate it from other drawing pen-enabled Android tablets? A few things. First of all, this is the only tablet that actually uses XPPen drawing technology with this pen that comes in the box. And another big thing, I think, is that it has a really cool matte finish on the glass. I haven't found really the information about if this is like a pre-applied screen protector or if it's an actual surface of the glass. But as far as I can tell, when I'm looking at it closely, when I'm looking at the glossy circles surrounding the cameras and everything, it really looks like it's just the actual finish on the glass. So this is really the way this tablet is. You can't remove this matte finish or anything like that. And I think the big benefit of this kind of surface is like how fine this grainy paper-like texture is. It's really fine. When I compare it to my old iPad Pro that has a plastic film with like grainy texture on it, kind of like paper-like texture, this is way more matte. It blocks any reflection. There's no detail visible. It's so close to looking like a paper. When you're like actually looking straight at the reflection, this is very matte. While at the same time, with all this very matte surface, you can't see any rainbow effect, like rainbow noise on the pixels. Like, as far as I can tell, I can never see any problem with that. Any other drawing display I have that has matte finish, including my old iPad Pro, they have like a pretty noticeable grainy rainbow effect on the pixels when you look closely enough. In here, not a problem at all. It probably means that it's like a bit of a more fine and like not very grippy surface. If you're really into having a resistance when you're drawing, this doesn't give you too much of that. So it's kind of like smoother feeling when you're drawing. If anything, it even removes certain like stickiness. It's like this dusty kind of feel to it, where it's like very soft touch to it because of this super fine, complex surface. I'm really into it. I really like that. I don't really need like actual friction on the screen when I'm drawing on it. And I think having like completely removed reflections and very good visibility of the detail without any grainy noise is really good. So this fine texture on the glass is top-notch. Like, this is the best screen in regards of its like surface and how it's blocking the reflections. Looks really good. Now about the pen, it's a one-button pen, like it only has one button on the side, and its size is pretty close to the S Pen of Samsung tablets. Like, it's on the smaller size if I compare it to like any other, like here's a Huion pen, which is similar to a Wacom pen. And this one is like, it is generally a full-size stylus, but obviously on the smaller side, a little bit like at the limit of what would be comfortable to work with all the time, but it is generally like okay to hold it in your hand. Here's the comparison with the Apple Pencil. So even the Apple Pencil is thicker. Now, there is a cool trick about this tablet and XPPen styluses, If you have a modern XPPen Pro Pen 3.0 stylus, you can actually use that from another drawing display or something on this Android tablet, and it will work as well, and it will have like a better grip and all, so you can actually use a full-sized drawing pen as well. It will support it 100%, but that's all I know, that's what I've heard about. I couldn't test that because I don't have a modern stylus, and I don't remember anyone actually mentioning that you need that new kind of XPPen stylus, because I have one of the older ones and I tried it and it didn't respond at all. So it's really compatible with the newer XPPen styluses. Now, a little bit more about the technology inside of the pen. It of course has good pressure sensitivity, it has good precision and everything, like there's no wobbles or anything. Like the performance of this pen is pretty good in what it is. I was kind of disappointed to find out that it doesn't actually have any tilt support. So you only have the pressure sensitivity, but tilt definitely doesn't work. So right now this is the only mobile tablet I have that has a stylus that doesn't support tilt. And generally it's not a problem, you can definitely paint very well with just pressure sensitivity, 100%. But what I do find a little bit lacking is that with modern style of like Procreate style drawing, you would really want to have like a pencil brush where you can like tilt the pen and have like a thicker line going on, but in here nothing like that would happen. But yeah, as a drawing pen that supports pressure, it's a really good pressure sensitive pen, that's for sure. In terms of like precision of input, when you're actually making a stroke, it's very good, and depending on the software, the lag would be different. Keep in mind, usually on recording, this lag always looks noticeably worse than what it looks in real life. I don't know why, I think it has something to do with the frame rate of the camera combined with the frame rate of the screen and all that. And this is a simple 60 Hz screen, nothing fancy, like not 90 Hz, not 120 hertz. So yeah, generally the delay is okay when I'm using Infinite Painter. This is one of my favorite drawing apps on iPad. I would probably say this is the most favorite one. And I really like the way it's performing, like it has a good brush engine and everything. And I really think like a mobile tablet like this is as good as the best drawing app you have. It's really dependent on that. And I really recommend using Infinite Painter if you want to have like the best experience on an Android drawing tablet. One really cool thing it has is it actually uses Apple-like stroke prediction. So machine learning powered stroke prediction, which means it really like trying to guess each frame where your brushstroke is going to go, even though there's a certain lag. So it's like shortening the lag by drawing a little bit ahead of the information it actually has, which is really cool. It feels a lot more like it's sticking much better to the tip of your pen. So this is really cool, but the funny thing is it's not a system-wide feature, it's just Infinite Painter. So if you use a different app, the lag of the pen will be much more noticeable. So I'm gonna close my Red Skull about to eat an egg painting I did apparently. I don't know what this is. And let's open something else, like for instance another app I like, which is Artflow. So it's a pretty good app, but one thing it doesn't have is it just doesn't have this stroke prediction. So in here I can generally see a little bit of a more noticeable lag of the stroke behind the pen, but it's still really good, like it's quite snappy. And the thing is, I come from using an Apple Pencil where there's like a system-wide stroke prediction. So really to keep up with that, you need to constantly use the stroke prediction. But system-wide Magic Drawing Pad doesn't have that, but there are apps that actually introduce that themselves, like Infinite Painter. So yeah, I really find this to feel really good, but I will say that when I directly compare it to the performance of my iPad Pro, even though this is an older 2017 iPad Pro, it has a 120 Hz display, and generally iPads, like Apple products, have very strong hardware plus software optimization, so they work really snappy. And yeah, when you directly compare it to iPad Pro, this is not as quick in pretty much anything it does. It's a little bit slower. But overall, when you're just using it, it never stands in the way in terms of how it's performing. And considering this is a bit cheaper product, especially considering the pen comes in the box already for the price, you should expect that the performance will be definitely good enough, but not something crazy. And yeah, another thing I want to say about the screen, I'm not a huge, nerd about having a very color calibrated perfect display when I'm drawing. Like, I really don't think that's necessary. For digital artists, like, we use the color palette or whatever where we choose the colors, the color picker, and we know our colors better than the display does, so it's not really a problem. In fact, sometimes I just draw with the yellow screen on when I'm drawing at night, some kind of blue light protection mode. I can totally paint while using that because your eyes can adjust to that kind of stuff. What's important is that the colors should be distorted consistently, like all the colors should be distorted in a certain way. So in here, generally, I don't find it too critical, but while the colors generally are pretty good and the original wallpaper really shows the bright popping colors of this display, it's pretty nice, and the maximum brightness is, well, okay. I wouldn't say that you can be like drawing outside on it too much. It's not crazy bright. And this is an LCD display, which is totally fine, but what I did find, the screen has like a noticeable green tint to it. When I look at it on its own, it's not that noticeable. When I compare it to any other display, when I was showing the same image on all three displays I have in my setup here, the Magic Drawing Pad had like a considerably more green image than the other two displays. Really hard to show it on camera. If anything, XPPen seems to be less green than the other two. But trust me, with my own eyeballs, the brighter spot right here is more green, while the other ones are consistently normal looking. And again, it's fine when you're just drawing on it and like you don't really feel like you're looking at something green all the time, but I feel like it may be a bit of an issue because it's getting more green with brighter colors. That may be an issue because when you're painting something, and this is something I was testing with this egg right here, so when you're getting into like these nuanced shades, you will notice, like, I don't think you'll be able to tell it on camera or anywhere else, like you really need to look at the display with your own eyes to see the ever so slight issue here, but I'm using the same hue of the skin color across all of these values here on this egg, and the top parts, this highlight area, is looking a little bit greenish, like a little bit yellowish comparing to the other colors here. And what I will do when I'm painting, I will actually choose to make this color a little bit more like red, like in the pinkish area, to compensate for that, so it would look more normal. And that means that when you look at the resulting picture you made on other displays, your highlights will be a little bit pink. So I feel like that will maybe mess with your color perception a little bit when you're painting. Again, if all of the colors consistently would be green, that would be totally not a problem to me. But I feel like there's like a certain green tint at the brighter colors. And that is like an inconsistent shift that might make many of your paintings have pinkish colors in the highlights. So yeah, that's like the only issue I kind of found with the colors on the screen. The rest is totally fine, and again, the pixel density is high enough for a tablet, like it's nice, like I'm not seeing individual pixels when I'm just drawing on it, as well as generally colors are, well, vibrant enough and everything, like it's definitely usable, that's for sure, but it's not like a top-notch, highly professional display or anything. It has certain distortions. So yeah, the combination of a decently colored display with really good matte finish on the glass here and a good precision, pressure-sensitive pen, it is a good set of features and a good set of trade-offs for the price. You know, a 12.2-inch display is pretty huge for a mobile tablet like this. So yeah, overall a very good package and nice device with definitely good enough performance. There are features for multitasking, so we can use a split screen to use, you know, different apps in here. And yeah, I can definitely even sculpt in here, and overall the performance is nice and fast with 2 apps running at the same time. So the thing is generally working pretty well. I really like that. And by the way, one of the greatest benefits to me personally comparing to the iPad is that the pen here is not some Apple Pencil, but a good old actual stylus that has a physical side button, and you don't have to pay crazy money for the latest version of the iPad to have a hovering cursor, which means you can use like for instance my favorite app, Super Display, to connect to your computer and use this Android tablet as like an alternative to a Cintiq monitor to actually draw on your Windows computer. And yeah, I do similar things with iPad Pro, but there I don't have this hovering cursor support at all, and there's no physical side button. Even on the newer iPads, there's only this double tap feature on the side, which is, you can't really click and drag with that. So this kind of stylus is way better compatible with a Windows computer, so you can use your Windows stuff. And yeah, so here we have like a completely wireless Android tablet where I can definitely paint in my desktop Photoshop, and you can see the delay is absolutely minimal. It's a really great experience and like something to really consider when you're choosing what kind of tablet to buy. And this is a pretty good size of the screen, and the drawing experience is very nice. With one exception, that my Photoshop brushes actually have tilt support, but this pen won't provide that. So yeah, with just pressure sensitive brushes and everything, you have a very non-compromise experience. Seeing this hovering cursor, pressing the side button, using all the Windows features and everything, no problem at all. But yeah, back to Android, there's also kind of a PC mode that you can enable on this tablet as well, which is kind of a cool thing, especially if you really want to work with like taking a lot of advantage of multitasking specifically. So right here, by just dragging down from the top, I can click PC mode or tap. And this is what it looks like. You have a task panel at the bottom, and here's your apps and all. On the side, there's notifications. This is looking a lot like Windows computer. And yeah, whenever you open a drawing app, it will be in the window right away. So it's very similar to that DAC, I think it's called, that mode in Samsung tablets as well, that supports a similar thing. And what's really cool, with a pen, we can hover over the maximize button on the window and choose like multitasking composition of the windows in a very easy fashion. Like, it's very convenient to work this way. So you can have like your browser on the side to look up references or getting excited about the new Nicolas Cage movie here, whatever you want, while you can keep drawing on the other side. A pretty cool mode, and I think it's actually worth mentioning because it's really making your workflow much better. So yeah, overall, I haven't found a lot of weirdnesses with this tablet or anything like that. The Android is actually really close to a stock Android. It's Android 12, so that's pretty cool. You have these nice rounded shapes and everything like that. One weird thing I noticed is that for some reason, sometimes it's kind of really hard to swipe from the top to get the notification. A lot of the times it takes 3 swipes to actually get it triggered, which is this weird thing that usually always works perfectly on any Android tablet, but in here, like right now, it's ready to actually listen to the swipe, but here it is again, totally ignoring my swipes. And sometimes I would think like maybe I'm doing it at the wrong place, maybe there are zones, but no, you keep trying at the same place and eventually it will work. With a pen, it seems to be a lot more consistent, it just always works. So I think it's some kind of symptom of palm rejection kind of thing. So yeah, I guess I generally mentioned everything I wanted to mention. Aside Aside from that, again, a stock Android, very nice experience. I was very pleased with the fact that there's not a lot of, weird things going on that would slow it down or something. There is some bloatware in here, but what I did was, the bloatware was really two drawing apps, one of them Medibang, and another one is Ibis Paint, which are, I think, two very popular drawing apps. Not my apps of choice, but as a bloatware, it's a pretty good bloatware. And the other bloatware I found in here was mostly just about the system stuff, like you have a gallery app, a notes app, a music app, a video app, that kind of stuff. But it's not the Google ones, it's the simple ones, the basic Android ones. And if you install Google Photos app, you can't really uninstall this one, so we have two of them at the same time. But what's really cool, you have this privacy app where you can hide any apps you want inside of this one secret folder that only shows up with a certain gesture, and you can just hide all the bloatware inside of it and never see it again ever. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, in terms of the size of this tablet, it's actually a 256 gigabyte tablet, so it has quite a lot of space on it. And also you can extend this tablet with an SD card. And we have 8 gigabytes of RAM in here, which is plenty for like 40 something layers in a drawing app, and generally you saw me using multitasking and everything, so it's plenty enough. So yeah, I guess that will be mostly what I want to say about the tablet. Let's just quickly cover what comes in the box. We have this Type-C to Type-C cable and this Type-C charging brick. Then we have a pin to open the SD card slot, and also, I don't know if all versions have this, but mine also supports using a SIM card, so you can have your own mobile internet in it. I've never used that in my life, so I don't know what that is about. You can use a hotspot from your phone, did you know that? And yeah, another really cool thing, there are also extra 8 nibs that come in the box for your pen. So you can replace 4 of the black plastic nibs, and the 5th one is pre-installed in the pen originally. And you also have another 4 felt nibs that introduce a little bit more of that dry marker friction, like hissing kind of friction on the screen, which increases the friction a little bit, so it's kind of nice. I think if you're into that kind of stuff, you will definitely appreciate it. I'm not too much into it, so I'm just using a default black nib. And one thing to keep in mind though, these felt nibs, they're like the softer kind, so they get squished with time. Oh, and I almost forgot, there's also a case that comes in the box, like a protective case for the tablet, and it has an interesting little placement in here for the pen, and this is the only way to attach the pen to the tablet, because there's no magnetic attachment or anything like that. It has this strong bulge for the pen, gives you a little bit of the tilt, the tiniest tilt from the surface of the table if you just put it like this, and actually a glove. And this is the first time I'm seeing a different kind of glove with an extra padding at the bottom, I guess to even further minimize the possibility of failed palm rejection. So this way right here, I'm feeling extra protected. But for now, this is it. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, if I forgot to mention something, let me know and I'll try to answer as many questions as possible in the comments. And I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Honestly, the most impressive thing to me here is just the finish of the screen. It's just such a nice mattness to it. Really good, like it just increases your visibility so much. Loving this.